Are you worried about what it means when a president threatens his own citizens? You're not alone. Across the country, millions of Americans are glued to their screens, watching the news with a mix of anxiety and disbelief. The idea that the highest office in the land could be used to intimidate or silence dissent is deeply unsettling for many. It raises fundamental questions about the balance of power, the limits of authority, and the protections guaranteed to every citizen under the law. When a president stands at a podium and warns protesters that they'll face very big force, it's not just a political statement, it's a moment that tests the very fabric of American democracy. These words echo through the streets, fueling both fear and defiance. Protesters, activists, and everyday people are left wondering, what are the real consequences of such threats? Can a president actually follow through? And if so, what recourse do citizens have? To answer these questions, we need to look at the law, and most importantly, the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, designed to protect the rights of individuals and to set clear boundaries for those in power. Legal experts, judges, and scholars have spent decades interpreting its words, especially when it comes to presidential authority and the rights of citizens to protest, speak out, and demand change. Let's get straight to it. The legal system in the United States is built on checks and balances. No one, not even the president, is above the law. But the process for holding a president accountable is unique, and it's not as simple as arresting someone for making threats. Instead, the Constitution lays out a specific path for dealing with presidential misconduct. When President Trump, or any president, issues warnings to protesters about facing overwhelming force, it's more than just rhetoric. These statements can have real-world consequences, both for the people on the ground and for the legal system tasked with responding. The use of force against protesters is a serious matter, and it's one that the courts and Congress take very seriously. Such threats don't just make headlines, they set off major legal alarms. Civil rights organizations, legal watchdogs, and members of Congress often respond immediately, demanding investigations and accountability. The public, too, becomes more vigilant, watching closely to see how the government will act and whether the rule of law will be upheld. Here's how the Constitution draws the line. The First Amendment guarantees the right to free speech, peaceful assembly, and protest. These rights are not optional, they are fundamental to the American way of life. When a president threatens to use force against citizens exercising these rights, it raises serious constitutional questions. The Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed that the government cannot silence dissent or punish people for speaking out, except in the most extreme circumstances. But what about criminal charges? Can a president be arrested for threatening civilians? The answer is complicated. The Constitution does not provide a simple mechanism for arresting a sitting president. Instead, it relies on a process called impeachment, a political remedy, not a criminal one. This means that while the president is in office, the main way to address misconduct is through Congress, not the courts. Impeachment is the main remedy. Here's how it works. If Congress believes the president has committed high crimes and misdemeanors, the House of Representatives can launch an investigation. This process often involves public hearings, testimony from witnesses, and a thorough review of the evidence. If the House votes to impeach, the case moves to the Senate for a trial. In the Senate, a 2/3 majority is required to convict and remove the president from office. This high threshold is designed to ensure that impeachment is not used lightly or for purely partisan reasons. It's a serious process, reserved for the most egregious abuses of power. If the Senate votes to convict, the president is immediately removed from office. The grounds for removal, high crimes and misdemeanors, are intentionally broad, allowing Congress to address a wide range of misconduct, from abuse of power to violations of civil rights. But what about criminal charges? That's where things get even more complicated. According to long-standing Justice Department rules, a sitting president cannot be indicted or prosecuted while in office. This policy is based on the idea that criminal proceedings would interfere with the president's ability to govern. Instead, the focus is on impeachment as the primary means of accountability during a president's term. However, once a president leaves office, those protections disappear. At that point, former presidents can be prosecuted for any illegal actions they may have committed while in office. This includes violations of civil rights, abuse of power, or the use of excessive force against protesters. The legal system can and has pursued charges against former officials when evidence supports it. If the military or federal agents are ordered to target peaceful protesters, that's a whole new level of legal risk. Federal law prohibits the use of force against citizens who are exercising their constitutional rights. The Posse Comitatus Act, for example, limits the use of the military in domestic law enforcement. Violating these laws can lead to serious consequences for everyone involved. Breaking federal law isn't just a headline, it's a criminal offense. Officials who carry out illegal orders or who use excessive force against peaceful demonstrators can be sued in civil court or even face criminal charges. The law is clear. No one is above accountability, not even those at the highest levels of government. In fact, history shows that officials who follow illegal orders can be held personally responsible. Lawsuits, criminal investigations, and congressional inquiries can all follow. Legal teams pore over documents, review evidence, and build cases that can take years to resolve. The wheels of justice may turn slowly, but they do turn. The bottom line is this: while a president is in power, impeachment is the main check on their authority. It's a process designed to protect the country from leaders who abuse their power or threaten the rights of citizens. But the story doesn't end there. After a president leaves office, the law can still catch up. Investigations can continue, charges can be filed, and justice can be served. The legal system is designed to ensure that no one escapes accountability forever, no matter how powerful they once were. And public outrage? That's already in motion. Across the nation, people are speaking out, demanding answers, and insisting on accountability. The power of the people is a force that no president can ignore. In the end, democracy depends on all of us, citizens, lawmakers, and the courts, standing up for what's right, defending our rights, and making sure that the law applies to everyone, no matter their title or position.